Welcome to Stoneship Radio, a podcast where we explore the world from the pages of history to current events and the mysteries of the past. Climb aboard for Stoneship Radio. So welcome everybody, this is the first episode of Stoneship Radio. By the way, that's the name of the podcast.
Well,
We're here with Carrie. She's a destitute lady I found off the streets. She's gonna be the co-host until I fire her. So who knows when that's gonna be. And I just
who knows
realized
how long it'll last.
probably not long. I just realized I don't know anything about you. You're from Vermont, right?
Yes, I am.
What was that like?
Pretty intense. There were a lot of drive-by shootings and gang tension.
So I would think someone from Vermont acclimating to upstate New York would be a hard transition, but based on what you're telling me, it doesn't sound like it's all that different.
No, it was pretty smooth. It's been pretty smooth sailing.
How often have you been shot?
5, 6 times.
That's great. That's not bad.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, nobody knows anything about me. They don't need to know about my Taiwanese bastard children. Who I
No, I think we can save that for the next podcast, maybe. Yeah.
I contact them through Telegraph every other month. I mean, they have cell phones. I just don't want them getting too attached.
And you don't want them having your number.
Oh, absolutely not. They're like,
who knows when they're gonna text and...
Anytime you disagree with me, that's gonna get cut out as well.
Alright.
It's just warning you. Where do you want to start? We got the elves. We got your creepy dead people. We got India. We got a lot to talk about. We could just talk about politics for 3 hours as well, but let's not.
Yeah. I think we can start with the Icelandic elf controversy, and then that kind of moves naturally into the racist Santa in Holland.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah, I think so.
That's really good. Hold on, let me close this door.
Right.
Can't close it too much, because then the dog will flip the shit.
Yeah.
And we're in the creakiest house ever. Alright. So I got this from theatlantic.com international / whatever. The link's going to be in the show notes, otherwise you'll get sued. So, how the country's history and geography created the perfect setting for magical creatures whose perceived existence sparks environmental protests to this day. To this day, Carrie.
Yes, to this day.
Before I get into this, I just want to make a statement that I'm not connected to the gnome folk, the elves, the trolls. Yes, I am a short man. Yes, I have a beard. And I did live under a bridge for a certain period of time. But
that doesn't mean anything.
That means nothing. Alright?
Right, exactly.
We got people protesting, the Icelandic people, road development. At least a few believe it will displace certain supernatural forces that dwell within the hollowed volcanic rubble and fear the potentially dark consequences that come with such a disturbance. Hold on, I got this. Jones Doter, a graying and speckled seer who also operates an elf garden in nearby Have No Fear, believes the field is highly populated by elves, hidden people, there's like a Icelandic name that I'm not, and dwarves, many of whom, she says, have recently fled the area while the matter is settled. It's kind of convenient that they fled.
Yeah, I'd say so.
If the road is completely necessary, the elves will generally move out of the way, but if it is deemed superfluous, a possibility at Galgaron, very bad things might happen. This elf church is connected by light energy to other churches, other places, John Doster said. So if one of them is destroyed, it's it's not a good thing. That was a quotation mark.
No, not a good thing at all.
It's just not a good thing.
No.
Now, it says that the elf church is connected by light energy to other churches. Does that mean other elf churches, or does that mean every church?
I wasn't sure if it included human churches or if it was just elf churches as well.
If you go to church, is there like a chance that the elves are connected to that?
I'd say so.
The dwarves. I didn't mention the dwarves. I'm not connected with them either. But
No.
some other stuff I found interesting was it mentions the 19th century folklore involving elves kidnapping people and holding them hostage in the mountains.
Yeah.
Or replacing babies or small toddlers with changeling, or an elf that looks like a baby but isn't a changeling.
Yeah. I thought that was the most interesting. Well, the other thing that struck me is that a survey taken as recently as 1998 mentioned that 54% of Icelandic people still entertain the idea of elves.
Yeah, I wonder if that has changed. I mean, how often do they do elf surveys?
Yeah, it's not a recent survey at all. I was kind of surprised they quoted it.
And this John Doster, or whatever his name is, or her name, it's actually a girl. So
Right.
I imagine her this is graying, so I imagine she's super old. And these elves.
Yeah.
And another thing, it says, though the baby snatching stories have certainly dropped out of the mainstream Icelandic consciousness, tales of elves meddling with construction projects that encroach on their territory, usually in rocks or hills, abound. They tell of mechanical breakdowns with no apparent cause, freak accidents, and dream warnings. What's a dream warning?
I think it's an elf when an elf appears to you in an unconscious state and warns that it will mess you up if you encroach on its natural habitat.
Have you ever had a dream warning from an elf?
I can't say that I have.
Got me thinking of abduction stories. Because often when someone's abducted, the alien says some crap about... Oh, hold on. She's still barking.
But maybe Molly is trying to communicate that she has had ominous elf dreams.
It's a possibility. She's always worried about her butt.
Right.
And if you look at this abduction and elf connection and Molly's butt, and you look at Whitley Strieber who got the anal probe, I think it's all coming together.
It ties in, yeah.
It's definitely related. I mean, you could basically go on Ancient Aliens with that logic.
Right.
It would be totally accepted.
Well, maybe Molly has been, abducted and anally violated and probed by an alien.
Haven't we all?
Yeah. I mean, it's not as rare as people think.
Another funny thing, too, is the stories where the people are kidnapped. So you got people being kidnapped. That's another similarity to abductions. You got weird dream warnings. And then you got construction vehicles getting messed up. There's no connection there. Molly just opened the door, and she was just standing in the doorway, giving me this look, like, how dare you? It was like such a look of entitlement. I don't know what to do with this little dog. If you get a min pin, I don't know. You basically, they're so emotional. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Which is it's a good thing because you want them to be emotional and you want them to love you, but at the same time, it's oh my god, the amount of love they need it's out of control.
Yeah. And when they're, recovering from a trauma like an anal probing, then that neediness just intensifies, right?
I mean, anything that happens to her is a trauma. Literally, you almost step on her and it's a trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So the anal probing, I don't know how she deals with that. but I have a long rant about ancient aliens later on.
Okay.
Since you have no life like me and many hours to spend,
Yes.
you might get to hear it. By the way, that's why you're the co-host, because my other co-host has a baby. He has
yeah.
What does he have?
A life?
A life, a fiance, and a good job. And
we don't have any of those things.
No, well, we absolutely do not. By the way, I didn't even know your name for like a month after I started talking to you. It just didn't come up. And then all of a sudden, like, I was going to refer to you, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. So that shows.
Yeah. When someone's name doesn't come up right away, it gets to a point where you don't feel comfortable asking.
It had gone too far. You were already pregnant with my child.
Exactly.
And it was like, how do I go back on this? Do you watch Seinfeld?
Of course. I love Seinfeld.
Did you see that episode where he's dating that girl and he didn't know her name?
Mm-hmm.
That was a good
one. Yeah.
Like Mulva, or whatever her name
is. Right. Celeste.
The dog's ready to pounce again. Alright, so these elves, tales of elves meddling with construction equipment. It sounds like it's like a bunch of activists doing this. Maybe they just blame on elves.
They might be. They
just have nothing to do?
It's a very small country.
Totally see the elves living in those rocks. Did you see the pictures of the doors there?
Yes, I did.
The little elf doors.
Yeah, and the elf church.
They marked the number on them. I don't know what that's about. It kind of reminded me of a concentration camp.
Yeah. I don't think they got into that in the article as to why the doors are marked like that.
What would you do if you saw an elf? Just come crashing down? Would everything you know change if you saw an elf?
Yeah, I think it would. But I think it's one of those situations where you don't know exactly how you're going to react.
Do you think you would chase it down?
No, not after hearing how vengeful they can be.
They're little assholes, actually.
It
does seem like they're jerks. 19th century folklore, that's not that old. Usually
No.
And Iceland's been around for a while. Usually when you think of folklore, I usually think of like Middle Ages.
Exactly.
But in the 19th century, they were kidnapping people, so...
I know. That's just going too far. Especially replacing babies.
Oh, can you imagine that? You just go to your baby and it's just like this elf. You'd be like, holy crap, there's an elf instead of my baby. And you'd be like, no.
Yeah.
You'd be like, no, I'm your baby. You'd be like, no, you're an elf. And you'd be like, no, I'm definitely your baby.
And it didn't get into how, the mothers would react when they found out about the changelings.
Yeah, that's a big thing in folklore too, the changeling.
That's true. I know it exists in Irish folklore as well.
Where are they? Denmark owns them? Who owns Iceland now?
Iceland's an independent country.
You sure about that? I'm looking this up.
I'm pretty sure. But I believe Greenland is still a territory of Denmark.
Oh, that's probably what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, it could be.
I'm really upset with Iceland in some ways because they've been around since the Middle Ages, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you look up old historic buildings, they got nothing.
No.
I mean, even Greenland has that that one church. It's like the only reason to go to Greenland is that one ruined church.
Right.
Yeah.
And the opportunity to eat seal and stuff.
You don't eat seal?
Am I missing out?
Yes.
Can I just get it at, Hannaford's and Pepper?
Oh, I can turn this down when I'm coughing. I just figured that out. This is so much easier than last time when I tried to do it by myself. And I was hold on. People are getting loud again. And I was referring to, specific things in New England. I was like,
right.
Yeah, the Mohegan tribe did this. And then I was like, wait a minute. Do people know what the Mohegan tribe is? What is the Mohegan tribe?
It's a tribe in New England.
All right.
I know the major Native American tribe in Vermont is the Abenaki.
Is it Abenaki or Abnaki?
Abenaki.
Abenaki. And it was its own country. Did you look that up? Vermont? Remember I was telling you guys?
Yeah.
I was totally right about that. Although I don't know if you were the one that disagreed about that.
I think Charles disagreed about that.
I think you understood the truth. So are we ready to move on?
I think so.
That was a pretty good discussion about elves.
Yeah.
So you want to do your corpse thing? I thought that was a good one.
Yeah. Well, historically in Papua New Guinea, people have commemorated the deaths of their relatives by cannibalizing them, eating their ashes, I believe the article said.
Oh yeah. Later on, they said they used the fat and like the white. Then they were like the white man's lying about that or something.
Right.
Oh yeah. I'm remembering now. They said the.
Yeah.
God damn it. Molly's eating something. I don't know what it is.
Is it part of the Christmas tree?
No, she's in my room.
Is it a changeling?
I've barricaded myself in my room.
Right.
To try and stop this noise, but it's not working so well. So what else we got with this? We got all those cliff dwellings, or not dwellings, the cliff burials there.
And it was basically like something out of a horror movie. And one of the locals, I think he was saying that his grandfather was shot by a missionary in self-defense.
The missionary shot him in self-defense, or
I think that was the way it worked. I could be getting the order reversed.
I just focused on the dead people. I think I just ended up looking at the pictures.
Those are pretty gruesome.
14 corpses in total arranged on bamboo scaffolding in lifelike positions or curled up inside large baskets. When I first read it, when it says, they burnt their dead, I was like, oh, it's cremation. And I kept reading it.
And it's nothing like cremation.
I was like, oh, Jesus. It's not even close. They're all burnt and like suspended on the edge of this cliff.
Right.
I'm gonna look at pictures of it now. Some of them, like, what was he eating? Look at that again. I want to know if that was just so the white men said that, or
I think that's what they're going with. That the white man said that.
No, they totally ate them.
I think so.
I don't believe them.
Yeah.
What are they? Esketti? I don't know how to pronounce it. Well, the dog's trying to lay down now. She's so mad at me about everything. If you don't let her on your lap, she's pissed. She's just so mad at you, and it's like, Molly, you can't be on my lap all the time. And she doesn't understand this. So I have no social life because I gotta be home with this dog on my lap.
And if you wanted something that was, always wanted to be on your lap and get up in your business, you would have kept the Cambodians.
Well, the Cambodian women, I mean.
Right.
Let's not get weird here.
That's true. They weren't slaves. More like mistresses, right?
Yeah, I mean, they weren't my children, God no. Papua New Guinea landscape is pretty nice. I didn't know it looked so.
It's beautiful.
It looks very Irish.
It does.
It's all green and... Oh, here we go. Esketti? Is that what they are?
That's the closest I can think of how it would be pronounced.
I don't know if they ate them. Earlier I said they did, but it sort of just looks like they're sitting up there rotting.
Yeah.
I don't really like it, but I thought the ones that, if you Google image Esketti, Aseki burials, you'll get a lot of other pictures of them. I thought the ones that were like sitting on a bench looked pretty okay.
They looked a little more peaceful.
Yeah, like they were having a good time.
Yeah.
When they were like in the basket, it reminded me of when they killed someone, and, like, they hung the body in, like, a cage in front of the Tower of London.
Right, as a warning.
Yeah, it didn't look so great. But when they were just sitting there, I was like, whatever. That didn't look too bad.
Yeah, it's like you could take a seat next to them and wouldn't be that weird.
They definitely look pretty juicy.
Mm-hmm.
It also looks flimsy. Like, I think in the article he was like, oh, I almost caused it all to fall down.
Right.
I don't know how they keep that up there. It probably falls and they just prop them back up.
Prop them up, yeah. That'd be weird to just be walking by Grandma and have her tilt over.
We're not supposed to judge other cultures, but...
I'm judging that.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
You're not a fan?
No.
At least it's... I want to know how far it is from the village. It didn't really say.
No, it didn't.
Like, is it right there?
I'm not sure.
And the disease, like, wouldn't animals... I don't know what Papua New Guinea has for animals and wild animals, but you think they would be chewing.
You think they'd be all over those?
Yeah, and the flies got to be crazy.
I know, and it's a tropical climate, so how do they preserve the bodies at all?
I don't think they are preserving them. It looks like they're just sitting up there rotting. Did you see those people that use dead bodies for, like, art?
No, I didn't. Where was this?
Just type in dead body art.
Okay.
There was some recent one that was just skinless people in an art show, and they just had them, like, in sexual positions, and that one's kind of lame, but there was another one there's some guy, I heard about this, like, forever ago, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He made, like, all these crazy artworks with just dead bodies and flesh. It did kind of look cool, I'm not gonna lie, but at the same time, it's like, how did he get these bodies?
Exactly.
And I think I heard that, like, his wife died, like, mysteriously, and everyone was like, oh, she's definitely part of the exhibit.
Yeah. I Googled that, and a disturbing amount of information's coming up on dead bodies as art.
There's, like, bodyworlds.com. Let's look at this.
Bodyworlds.com. Okay.
The original exhibit of real human body. I think it's pretty gross, but the horse one I kind of find interesting.
Right.
It just sort of looks like he's like a horseman of the apocalypse.
Right.
The rest of them are kind of shit.
Yeah.
German terminally ill Dr. Death put his... Oh, that's who it is. Dr. Death. Check him out. He's German, of course.
Yeah. Is this a recent event? Dr. Death?
Well, there's a lot of Dr. Deaths out there. Another thing about these Papua New Guinea people is how long have they been doing this? We don't really know.
I don't think the article said.
I guess there's no way to find out. The first European was 1907.
I gotta think it predates that, though. Unless they were just doing it to mess with the Europeans, try to get them off their land. But I don't think so.
I wonder how often native tribes just mess with Europeans.
Sure, it happened.
Like, I often think that, like, Native Americans, like, a lot of them that came on with Art Bell, they'd be like, oh, this is the prophecy of so-and-so, and I feel like a lot of times they're just making stuff up and seeing, like, oh, I wonder if these white guys will totally buy this.
Right.
We did.
But yeah, I think if I were an American Indian, I would make up a lot of folklore on talk shows and when anthropology professors were interviewing me, and just seeing how much I could get away with.
When I took Native American history in college, they had this first question. They said, how much can we really accurately tell the history of Native Americans? I said no, because first of all, everything they say is ancient. They're like, oh, this is ancient, but since there's no written records,
right,
you really have no idea how far back it goes.
Yeah, and I feel like, after a point it gets to be like a game of telephone, where, some of this might have happened, some of it didn't.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of it is, like, actual stuff.
Yeah.
The question said accurately, and you really can't, I mean, without written records, there's really nothing.
Yeah, I think, in oral history, I think a little bit gets lost.
Alright, so where do we want to go? We want to go astronomers? We want to talk about your Indian people?
Yeah. Well, obviously what drew me to that article was the puppeteer. And what I've come to learn about them as a profession. In India, I thought that was pretty interesting that they've been able to, basically as a result of one man's efforts, preserve this artist colony that provides people dignity. And I liked how he was saying he'd been influenced by the Salman Rushdie book, Midnight's Children, which is one of my favorite books as well.
What is it about?
Well, it takes place right at the start of India's independence from Great Britain in August of 1947. And all of the children who were born at that time have these magical powers. It sounds absurd,
Wait,
but
is it fiction?
it is fiction.
Oh,
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
really have magical powers.
No. Not the actual children born during independence, but in the Salman Rushdie novel, they do have magical powers. As time goes by, like the later during the Independence Day that they're born, the magical powers just get like weirder and weirder to the point where it's more something you'd see in the Guinness Book of World Records than it's something that, you would be proud of. But it's a pretty fascinating book. It's actually his best book.
Like, what kind of powers are we talking here?
Well, the main character, Salim, has this extraordinary sense of smell, which sounds kind of hokey. You have to read the book to appreciate it. He ends up having a pretty extraordinary life, and it really coincides with India's history, like independence, obviously, and it goes Indira Gandhi period in India. There actually is an artist colony where the main character meets his wife, and that was the inspiration for this man starting his own artist colony.
Why are they called colonies? I never understood that.
I think in this case it just means more like a community.
So it's not related to colonization?
No.
So it's like a leper colony, except instead of lepers, they're street performers.
Yes. Yep.
I literally wrote 2 things down for this article, and I wrote India is a shithole, and I wrote Indian women are hot. So that's all I got.
I don't know. I would question how relevant that is to the article.
Not very. Oh,
No.
I also wrote it's Delhi, India, not New Delhi. So we found Old Delhi.
Oh, there's an Old Delhi?
Well, doesn't the article take place in Delhi, India?
I believe it does.
So it's not New Delhi. So I assume that's the Old Delhi.
I'll have to look that up.
You don't think India's a shithole?
No, well, I've never been to India. I can't objectively say.
I'm sure there are parts that are nice, but overall, my god. I was reading something one time, this guy was like, there's dead bodies drifting down a stream where people are getting their water from. They're drinking water, and it's just like, oh my god.
Education-wise, that is questionable.
Yeah.
He was probably talking about the Ganges River, which is sacred to Hindus.
Why is it so shitty?
Like the river or the country?
Oh, the river. I mean, couldn't they not make it so polluted or do something about it? I mean, I guess.
I think that would be a good idea.
I guess it's a big undertaking, given how we're America and where our Hudson River is pretty shitty too.
Yeah.
I doubt it's that crappy.
We don't tend to bury our dead in it.
Well, speak for yourself.
Do we use it as a water source? I'm not too clear on that point.
I hope not.
No.
Is Hudson River New York City? I hate New York City.
Really?
Not really, but I think it should have a different name. It's like enough already. And you have to be like a millionaire to live there comfortably.
Well, that's true. You know, when the Dutch first colonized New York, of course, it was called New Amsterdam. So maybe they could go back to that name.
The whole colony was New Netherlands, so it all made sense.
It did.
It's all been downhill since then.
I'd say so.
Apparently my mother's family is like super Dutch.
Which sort of leads us into the next article, which is the Santa Claus controversy in Holland.
It's out of control, the Santa Claus controversy.
I know.
You want to read it?
Yeah.
You want to do the honors?
Well, I first heard about it years ago when I read the David Sedaris essay, 6 to 8 Black Men, where he talks about the Santa mythology. And in that country, Santa isn't a jolly fat man. He's actually a very skinny man who was originally the Archbishop of Turkey. And he resides in Spain for most of the year, not the North Pole.
Well, that makes more sense.
That he resides in Spain?
Yeah, I mean, why would you live in the North Pole?
I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're Santa, maybe you crave privacy.
Choosing between the North Pole and Spain, I'd probably choose Spain.
I think I would too. It's definitely a more temperate climate.
Yeah, I mean, is there even land in the North Pole? Isn't it just a bunch of ice sheets?
That's my impression. And then the other interesting thing about Santa lore in that country is the 6 to 8 Black Men who started out as Santa's slaves and then in a more PC climate became Santa's friends in the 1950s.
Santa just hung out with black people. Right?
Yeah, he was very enlightened.
God, there's nothing wrong with that.
I know.
Is this the original St. Nicholas they're talking about? Because I look under St. Nicholas and it says he's from Para, which is now Turkey. So.
Oh, well, that would make sense with their legend because he was originally the Archbishop of Turkey.
Oh.
So that's consistent.
So yeah, maybe they're actually talking about the real St. Nicholas.
Yeah.
He does look pretty thin. I'm looking at him in the Wikipedia.
Right.
He doesn't look very jolly, though.
No.
That's kind of sad. You just, felt his pain for a second.
I know. He suffers so much. He has to make toys for ungrateful little children.
No, was it Krampus? That movie that's coming out. What's that called?
Right.
That I was talking about?
Yeah, that's the German Saint Nick, right?
I don't know, it might be. He's like an evil version of Saint Nick.
Right.
Krampus
Right.
Called. He's not, I thought he was like Krampus or something.
Well, my roommate, Becca, is half German on her mom's side, and she was saying it's pronounced Krampus. And Krampus actually eats naughty children.
Oh god, he eats them?
Yeah.
He doesn't just beat them?
No.
See, that doesn't...
He is hardcore.
That doesn't make sense. Because there would be no naughty children then, because Krampus would just eat them all.
You would think, but maybe he's phased that out.
Oh jeez, here's a picture of him. Look him up on Wikipedia. He looks horrifying. I can't wait for Krampus to come out.
I know.
I'm excited to see it.
When is it coming out?
Christmas Day.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I don't know. I'm looking right now. It's not saying. December 4th, so it's already out.
So we probably missed the midnight screening of Krampus.
I think there was a midnight screening of Krampus.
I don't know. It doesn't really sound like a kid's movie, though, does it?
Yes.
You think it does sound like a kid's movie?
It's close enough.
But regardless of whether or not it's a kid's movie, there are going to be a lot of stupid parents who take their kids to it and spoil the fun for other people. It's usually the way things happen.
So do you want to take a break?
Sure.
Because I want to see if this recording actually works. Alright, so go get a Pop-Tart.
Alright.
That's it. That's all you can do.
Okay.
We are getting an inside look into Carrie's life.
Oh boy.
There's all kinds of weird stuff going on back there. So were we done talking about the racist Netherlands? I don't think we were. I just have
Well, I know. I think that's what we started talking about. The Santa mythology.
Black Pete, one of Santa's helpers.
Right, right.
The whole Black Pete thing, I sort of was like, well, it goes back centuries, and they said he could represent the devil. Others say he represents African slave. Then others just said he had soot from going down the chimney.
Right, right. But what was interesting is that Surinamese, I think that's what it is, Dutchman, who is black. I think the article said he was only about 23, and he was called Black Pete as a racial slur during school.
Wasn't he from America too? I mean, if he went to school, I guess he would have.
Well, they have schools in Holland. it's a first world country.
No, I meant if he went to. I meant if he went to school in Holland, then he must have immigrated over early. I wasn't implying that Holland didn't have an education system.
Yeah.
He must be from the U.S. How did he get educated? Oh, let me look it up. I got all the links sitting here. I feel like if you were from America, the racism there is so obvious that it's not even like a question.
Right.
But maybe there's just no black people in the Netherlands, so they just don't care.
Not really. There are a lot of Somali immigrants now in the Netherlands.
Because it did say people were protesting, but I didn't know if that was just like, super liberal people, although you don't have to be super liberal to find this racist.
Right, right.
I didn't know if that was just people protesting because they thought it was racist, or if
it looks like it's both. It looks like they're white liberal Dutch people and also black Dutch people.
Because like the whole blackface thing,
mm-hmm.
The Black Pete, I could maybe find a way. Like, all right, it's soot. I mean,
but the blackface.
If you just put soot on it said later on they were just putting soot on his face.
Mm-hmm.
And not just painting his entire face black.
And now they're kind of progressing somewhat where, they'll just use random colors.
Yeah, well the thing is blackface in America was specifically
used to denigrate black people.
Yeah, so maybe like in Holland it wasn't always an issue with that, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe looking at it from our cultural perspective, it's really hard.
Right.
To not see it as
racist.
I'm seeing a picture right now, and
right, and it does look like the blackface that people used to wear here.
Exactly like it.
Yeah.
They got like the lips and
right.
It's so creepy.
It is.
My God, here's the guy. Let's see if he was American originally. Emigrated to Holland from a former Dutch. All right, so he's in South America. All I'm saying is he's the new Black Pete. That's all I'm trying to say. He's got a shirt that says that I don't know what language it is, but he's not a fan of Black Pete.
Right.
I mean, if
Black shirt is probably written in Dutch.
Yeah, it's probably Dutch.
Since
we're talking about the Dutch here,
right?
Is Holland in the Netherlands?
It's the same thing. It's the same country, Holland or the Netherlands.
I think I would know that.
Yeah, what with your rich Dutch lineage?
It says 19th century Dutch children's story, according to blah blah blah. Black Pete arrives every November by a boat from Spain, bringing presents and candy for every Dutch girl and boy, and they're welcomed in celebrations across the Netherlands. I mean, their whole thing of saying it's not racist is that he could represent the devil. It's just one of their things, but he's clearly not the devil, because why would the devil travel with Santa and give toys?
Right. And why is the devil made up in exaggerated blackface? That's not really helping their argument to equate blackness with evil. I'm not buying it.
I'm buying it. Damn it, Black Pete's got to come to America. I think if he's just a minstrel character, which is sort of what they're arguing, again, that's pretty racist.
Yes, it is.
Let's put black soot on him. That's good enough.
Yeah.
The helpers is kind of, that's probably got to go too.
I would say so.
The blackface has got to go. It's creepy.
Oh yeah, yeah. It just doesn't represent anything positive at this point in history, I feel. Yeah.
Although I do want to say white chicks offended me because it was whiteface.
Oh, I never saw white chicks.
That's because you're an intelligent human being.
Probably.
I don't think I saw it either. I just saw it. And all I thought was, is there anyone else in the CIA or whatever they're in that can do this? That will look more like a white chick. There's got to be someone. It just has to be.
Yeah.
They're saying, oh, it goes back centuries, and I wrote down slavery is old.
Yes.
That doesn't necessarily mean it's
That doesn't mean it's a wholesome tradition.
Yeah, like...
In fact, it's more likely that it's offensive if it goes back centuries.
Lynching is an old tradition.
Exactly. And Jim Crow.
Was that a Disney thing where they had, like...
They had Jim Crow at Disney?
They had, like, the black crows there that were...
Right.
There's, like, Songs of the South is what I was thinking of.
Okay, yeah.
They had, like, the South was a beautiful place, the North was just, like, this wasteland.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, in winter, you could probably get away with that. Since it is a wasteland in the winter, but...
Yeah.
Basically, if you don't have slavery, it's not a paradise. You told me that, like, his black servants were in place of the reindeer.
Sort of, yeah, because
I guess they are.
And that version, he doesn't have reindeer. He has the 6 to 8 black men. Yeah,
They're pulling the. Well, they're not pulling the sled, but they're.
Because it doesn't seem like he would need a sleigh. Traveling from one European country to the other.
I guess.
Especially, now that there's the EU. If you're from an EU country, the borders are pretty porous, and I just don't feel like it's that hard. He's
gotta stop with those black servants.
I would say so.
Bottom line, he's gotta start paying them. He's gotta do something. So Black Pete's coming to America.
Yep.
The fact that he's called Black Pete, that's not helping anyone.
That's not helping That's not helping their case.
We want to go into space. We're going to talk about Stonehenge and hear my ancient alien rant.
Let's do Stonehenge.
We got Stonehenge builders hosted barbecues. And it says the ancient builders of Stonehenge may have hosted massive barbecue cookouts where thousands of revelers feasted on meat. Archaeologists at the Neolithic settlement of Durrington Walls in modern-day southern England, where the builders of Stonehenge likely lived, found evidence that the village hosted open-air meat-roasting parties 4,500 years ago, with animals likely walking to the site for slaughter from regions far and wide. Thousands of ancient pilgrims may have flocked to the site of Stonehenge to honor their dead, while heading back after hours to party and grill at Durrington Walls, the study authors speculated. Have you heard about the Durrington Walls thing?
No, I don't think so.
They found this other, 90 of these other huge stones. It's 2 miles from Stonehenge, I think. I talked about it on the test show. It's basically this other henge monument. There's so many things in that area. There's all these giant burial mounds around you, too. There's a lot going on there. Past books I read implied that Stonehenge was temple for the elite, and this sort of seems like it was the average Joe could just go there and eat some meat.
Right.
Fun. They did say that there are a lot of people buried there, and that it was women and children were buried there as well, so.
Right.
It wasn't necessarily a patriarchal society that originally thought. Because the book I read, it's there somewhere. I can see it. I'm going in. Carrie, I'm going in.
Alright.
Aubrey Burrell, B-U-R-L. He was basically saying that the burials around Stonehenge were more egalitarian. The society, it's a word I'm thinking of.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Who cares? So there are barbecues at Stonehenge.
Yeah, I also thought it was interesting that according to legend, magic pipers led maidens to the field and turned them into stones.
That's just how it happened.
Yeah. I'm just wondering how they got the maidens, they convinced the maidens to go with them.
Well, you don't want to be a stone?
Not really. But I guess if they were magic pipers, they probably had some sort of influence.
Maybe they weren't that egalitarian if they're turning women into stones.
No.
You know about the Arthurian legend of Stonehenge?
Yeah, Merlin.
Merlin and giants.
That one's been debunked, though, right?
No.
Okay.
It has not been debunked.
So that's still a going theory, Merlin.
Merlin, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This was a theory.
Yeah.
And they built it as a monument for nobles that were slain, even though that happened way, way after it was built.
Yeah.
There's so many myths connected to every mysterious monument.
Definitely.
And that brings us to Egypt scan finds mysterious
Yes.
heat spots in the pyramids.
And the main theories are empty areas inside the pyramids, internal air currents, or the use of different building materials.
I'm hoping it's some kind of secret doorway. Because how cool would that be?
That would be cool. Yeah.
When I looked at it, though, it doesn't look like a doorway.
Not really.
It's kind of depressing. I actually almost left this one out. Because it's like one stone diagonal to another stone. It's not like a door, you know?
No, not at all.
If it was a door, it would be. If it was like inside the pyramid and there was like a shaft leading somewhere and there was like a heat spot, that would be a little more impressive, I think.
Yeah.
Because then you'd be like, oh, there's hidden chambers in there. But this is just two random blocks, so.
Pretty much.
Like, when are we going to the Great Pyramid? I assume you're going to finance an expedition to the Great Pyramid.
Yeah. I'll have to do some fundraising, but it's doable.
You should have had this already.
I know.
This was just part of the show prep, is
Right.
booking a trip to Egypt.
I don't have that many vacation days left.
So, on my Ancient Aliens rant that I've got, like a whole page, ranting,
Yep.
prepare yourself.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you why I like Ancient Aliens and why I don't like it.
All right.
Well, you didn't sound too happy about that. You're like, oh, fucking Christ. Tim's telling me about Ancient Aliens again. Trying to fit aliens into every fucking article.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Alright, so they're basically attaching mythology to these structures.
Right.
Which is what people have been doing for years, like Merlin and Stonehenge. And if you essentially look at it that way, that, oh, it's just modern mythology, which is aliens, pretty much. You know,
yeah.
We don't have gnomes anymore. We don't have elves.
No, in Iceland.
In Iceland, yeah, we do have elves.
Right, but other than that, not really.
Most other places, they've been shoved into Iceland.
Yeah.
If you look at this as mythology that they're connecting it to and not as serious researchers, because they're not serious researchers.
No.
I think that's interesting. That
it is.
Because really, like I said before, elf is kidnapping people, an alien kidnaps people. There's just so many similarities. And So yeah, sleep paralysis used to be, people would say demons attack them. You've seen that famous picture, The Nightmare? I forget who it's by.
Edvard Munch? Yeah.
Probably.
Do you mean The Scream or The Nightmare?
The Nightmare, I think it is.
I don't know if I have seen that
It's got the lady with like the little man, kind of looks like me, sitting on top of it. And then there's like a horse head.
Yeah, I think I've seen that.
It's pretty famous. Henry Fusel.
Okay. That sounds familiar.
I think people have said this looks like a sleep paralysis thing, because in sleep paralysis, you feel a pressure on your chest and you can't move, and you often see really freaky things, which I'm going to find an article about that. You don't want
Yeah, I'm sure.
You've never had it, I assume.
No.
Your body shuts down for sleep, but you're like somewhat awake. You basically see the crazy things in your dreams, but for some reason, it's like always scary. You know, like your dreams aren't always scary.
No,
but when you have sleep paralysis, it's always just insanely scary. Like, look at this horse head. I don't even know what the horse head has nothing to do with this. He's just peeking in. He's like, oh, hi. What's going on there? That's, people used to think it was demons, but now aliens is the new paranormal thing.
Right, right. Yeah.
That's really why I like all those topics of aliens and whatnots. Even if they're not true, which they're probably not. I think might be something going on, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can link it to aliens. If it's not true, it's just interesting folklore.
It is.
What I don't like about it, okay, you have these so-called researchers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eric von Daniken, you've heard of him, probably not.
No,
He's
sorry.
the guy who wrote Chariots of the Gods. He basically started the whole ancient alien thing.
Okay.
I got his book right here. And his book, he was like a restaurant. He was like a hospitality worker or something.
Right.
And he just one day was like, I'm gonna go explore. And he basically would just say crazy shit and write it down and say, this is what I think this was. This is what I think this was. So he was basically doing what people have been doing for centuries. They see something they don't know. They're like, oh, Stonehenge is pretty big. Giants must have built it, or they're magic or something, or both.
Yeah.
I think it was both in Stonehenge's case.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was fun. Whatever.
That's interesting.
But then when you have a guy like Zachariah Sitchin, who I think is crap, what he is. Because you've never heard of this actually helps because I get to explain this theory to you and you can tell me, just from a normal person's standpoint, what do you think of this theory?
Alright.
So there's this planet, this is Sitchin here,
okay,
called Nibiru, and it passes every 36,000 years into our solar system, and these people called the Anunnaki, they live in this planet and they came to Earth in the past and they needed to mine gold because their atmosphere needs gold. And the thing is, they said, oh, we don't want to mine gold. So what we're going to do is we're going to take humans, we're going to take these monkeys and we're going to genetically alter them to mine gold for us. And that's why humans exist. And
that sounds like a stretch.
And the thing about it is, that's crazy, and you can say that.
Yeah.
And you can say whatever. Who cares? My problem is, he says he got these from ancient Sumerian texts. And he says, I'm the one that translated these texts, and this is what they say, and other people have translated them wrong. And it's just like, come on.
That's crazy.
You're clearly manipulating, what am I trying to say? Audience, yeah. Like Eric von Daniken, everyone knows he doesn't have a PhD. This guy has a PhD, but it's in economics. He literally doesn't know how to read Sumerian.
No.
And yet he somehow translated this.
Yeah.
So there's a website by Michael Heiser, an actual linguistic person.
Right.
It's called sitchiniswrong.com. And he just talks about how he's just totally wrong about everything.
Yeah.
It's not a planet outside the solar system. It was their name for Jupiter. The pyramids and Stonehenge, all that was somehow involved later on. I don't know. The Tower of Babel, Tower of Babel. Right?
Sure.
You're not a pagan, right?
No.
I would have had to end this immediately if you were a pagan.
Okay.
But he said the Tower of Babel was people building a rocket ship. Mike Heiser was like, listen, I actually know what I'm talking about. It wasn't a damn rocket ship. And there's so many places where he just was totally wrong. And
Right.
And just because he has a PhD in a completely unrelated field
doesn't mean he knows what he's talking about.
He doesn't know anything about what he's talking about.
No.
Like, I think he just wanted to write fiction, but for some reason
marketed as fact.
Thought it would, and he has a ton of books. They're called the Earth Chronicles. And,
oh God!
Like, he's got 1 billion of them, and it's like if you've literally just translated this from 2 tablets, why do you keep coming out with books? Why is there more and more to this story? You should have translated it, and that's
moved
it.
on.
So the problem I have with him is he gives people the idea that he has some authority and that, oh, this is the real way. These should be translated. And even all that aside, it doesn't make any sense. Like,
right.
Okay, you're an alien. Why do you need someone to mine gold with a pickaxe?
Yeah.
If gold is that important, and this is what, like, nobody mentions this ever. If gold is that important to your atmosphere, that doesn't make any sense.
No.
Why don't you have some way of extracting gold? Like
You
you
would think.
traveled to a different world and you're supposed to be advanced beings. Why don't you have a way of getting gold aside from making humans genetically? Which wouldn't that take longer? Why are you bothering with that?
Right,
And
right.
another thing is, I don't know if you've done any mining lately. I know you're a big, strong woman.
I am.
So I don't know if you've mined lately.
Well, not lately. Not lately.
Yeah, the human body's not built for mining gold. It's just not.
No.
If you're gonna genetically modify a being, whatever, to mine for gold, there's so many things you could do. You could make them see in the dark. You could make them stronger. You could make them have like pickaxe arms.
Yeah,
There's a lot you could do.
If you're gonna go to that trouble,
yeah, you might as
do a
well.
better job.
You might as well go all the way.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, they did a horrible job. The Anunnaki, the aliens, you say they were the gods of Sumeria. And then you see all these specials where they have Zachariah Sitchin listed as a Sumerian expert, and it's like, no, he was not a Sumerian expert. And the funny thing, too, is all of Sumerian texts. The thing that pisses me off, too, is none of these texts were widely available. This was the 70s he started writing this.
Right.
Look it up and say, oh wow, he's completely wrong. This doesn't make any sense. Nobody could do that. Like, they could totally do that now. So
yeah,
he was just misleading people. And that's why I don't like it.
Yeah.
So that's my Ancient Aliens rant. When you say you've got this from ancient sources, it adds more credibility then there really shouldn't be any credibility there.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's it.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions, comments, concerns?
No, aside from the fact that, he's basically manipulating people's gullibility. I don't know why anyone would still listen to him.
He's dead now, but there's still...
Oh, okay.
Well, now he's dead. So there. Thanks, Carrie. Poor guy's dead. You're talking trash about him.
I'm sorry. That went too far.
I mean, I'm just trying to have a nice little podcast.
Yeah.
Carrie comes on here and blasts the dead. Anyway, that's my rant about that. That's why I like it. I think it's fun for modern mythology, but if you're gonna try and say you got this from ancient sources, don't be a bullshitter.
Right.
And like 80% of them are bullshitters.
Oh yeah.
It's a nice show though.
Yeah. So he has that going for
You get to look at ancient places. I don't know.
Yeah.
Alright, so where do you want to move on from here?
I thought the revision on the one child's policy.
I hate China. That's not true. I love their food.
Right.
I hate modern China. No, that's not true either. I hate modern China's government.
It's a bad government.
I just wish they would just rise up. I mean, I know it's tough. I don't even know how they would. That's historically a lot of times that's how China switched governments, actually. The peasants just rose up and were like, alright, enough of this BS.
They could do it.
So what did you want to say about the one-child policy?
I thought it was interesting that the journalist Mei Fong, that she concludes with her interview with that there are too many lonely, horny men in China without brides.
That's really the problem right there.
Yeah.
It's just a sausage fest over there.
Well, the article doesn't get into it, but there's actually been an issue with women being kidnapped as brides.
There's another thing, I don't know if it was in this article, but they said that, like, some women would scam people too.
That was in that article.
Because they would, like, travel far for a bride.
And
they would just, I mean, it was like, come on now. So it's not a good situation.
No, not for anyone.
Mei
Mei Fong, and she's the author of One Child, The Past and Future of China's Most Radical Experiment.
I like how she just like, this policy sucked. The government is saying one thing and it was just totally lying. I like how she goes all out.
Yeah.
So China didn't lift 600 million people out of poverty. They lifted themselves out of poverty.
Right.
So basically everything that they did that made them more like the West.
Right.
So the government didn't really do anything.
Nope.
So I like that. I like how she said, forget this.
Yeah.
She didn't tell them to rise up in the article, but I think she hinted at it.
I think she would support that.
She's like, I'm not saying that they should. I don't know why I'm going into my Obama voice, but she was like, I'm not saying that they should. I'm just saying that it would be helpful if China rebel. Because that would be in their best national interest. I've been told it was pretty good. And like, me and my brother both do a good Obama voice. And one time in college, we were just going around like all day saying everything like an Obama speech. And it was just Obama Day. My roommate was just cracking up. He's like, it just sounds like Obama's here.
No, it's a good imitation.
I don't know what he has to do with China. Not much. Where was I going with this?
That you think Mei Fang would be in favor of the Chinese rising up against the bad government.
Did you hear that thing where, I don't know how long ago, this was a while ago. I heard this on an older podcast. Google, they were getting censored in China.
Yeah, I
think they pulled out though. I don't know if they're still.
Oh, Google pulled out?
I think they did. I think they said if you're gonna censor us, we're just gonna have to leave the country.
Okay, I don't remember how it concluded, but I definitely remember that they were censored.
Yeah, I think they pulled out, and that's like the only time ever I would actually be proud of like a huge company doing something.
Yeah, I know.
Look up Tiananmen Square, and all you'd get is like, Tiananmen Square is a big old square. It's a very beautiful place. It's found in the 8th Dynasty.
Take the kids on a picnic.
I thought something else happened there, but I'm not really sure.
No, nothing happened. Nothing to see here.
What are we moving on to? What else do we want to talk about? We want to talk about the pedophiles. I know you like the pedophiles.
I'm a fan. Yeah.
Should I just read, I'll read some
okay.
Dr. James Cantor of the Center for Addiction and Mental Health in Toronto, Canada, spends much of his time exploring the brains of pedophiles using MRI scans. Jesus, I can't talk. He has reached a startling and controversial conclusion. Pedophilia is gross. I added that. Pedophilia is not gross.
that is his more controversial piece, that it is not gross.
He says pedophilia is a sexual orientation. Pedophilia is something that we are essentially born with. It does not appear to change over time. It's core to our being as any other sexual orientation is. Cantor found that brains of the pedophiles he studied were wired differently to non-pedophiles, something he described as efficiently as cross-wiring of the brain. It's as if these people, when they perceive a child, it's triggering the sexual instincts instead of triggering the nurturing instincts, he says. I don't know, like, what do you do about that? Carrie, what are you going to do about this?
I don't know what personally I'm going to do about it, but what I thought was interesting is that one of the proponents for treating pedophiles before they actually offend, the parents of a little girl who was murdered in 2012.
Moral implications if a person can't change their sexual orientation. They talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? You can't really, I mean, I guess you can't really blame them. I mean, after they molest someone, you can blame them, obviously, but before they do, what do you?
Well, I don't think the article really got
an answer.
Well, what I was reading once is that some people want to distinguish between pedophiles who have this attraction to children and child molesters who act on their attraction to children, and that it's actually in the public good to help pedophiles so they never act on their attraction in any way.
That makes sense, but how many of them you think are going to actually come forward and say,
that's a good point.
I have this attraction, do something about it. Because once you reveal that you have that, everyone's going to think...
Everyone's going to hate you.
They're going to hate you, even if you haven't done anything yet. Because
right.
You're a threat. I mean, you can't really blame them, but at the same time, these people can't help it.
Yeah.
Interesting. They were able to find the exact place where it was wired. It was supposed to be nurturing, but it went to sex.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if, like, brain surgery in the future. I mean, it's supposed to be the future.
You think you could just, like, cut that out, you know?
Do something, like rewire it, maybe?
Yeah.
I know nothing about brains. I mean, I'm sure it's not that simple, but eventually maybe it could be.
Hopefully.
Another thing they said, too, was how big is child abuse iceberg? And they said that a lot of people, to add to the complexity, about a third of those who offend against children are other children or young people under the age of 18.
Yeah.
And
but I guess the only possible positive thing out of that was, my impression was that child offenders are actually easier to treat and less likely to reoffend once they get treatment.
I mean, I wonder what the age difference is, you know what I'm saying?
But I don't know. They didn't really get into that.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. Unlike what age difference constitutes.
And another thing it said was a lot more people admit it.
Right, but that, like, a decent percentage don't act on it. So I think they were saying that more people have these desires than will actually act on them.
They were talking about the debate of, if someone is molested, are they more likely to molest someone else?
Right, and they were calling that the vampire syndrome.
Because that's what vampires do. They molest people.
Yeah.
It's rough because you got this poor kid, Jimmy, and he gets molested. So it's like the poor guy, not only does he get molested, but now he sort of has to be watched as somebody who could also be a molester. It's just not a good thing.
No.
I'm not for this.
I have to say I'm not either.
Carrie's on the fence, but I, for one, have made up my mind.
You're taking a stand.
I'm taking a stand. I'm out there on a limb. Child molestation is wrong.
You're gonna get some harsh reactions.
Yeah, I know.
I hope you're prepared.
Usually molesters find jobs near kids. This sounds sexist, but who's gonna listen to this podcast anyway? It's gonna be like Patrick and maybe like 2 other friends.
Yeah.
But I think if a guy is an elementary school teacher, I think he might be a pedophile.
Oh, I don't know about that.
As a man, you really shouldn't be.
You were saying you were suspicious of men who are...
Oh, right. The male. With women, they have sort of more of a nurturing thing. Men really don't have as much of that. You can be good with kids, but I feel like most men wouldn't decide to spend all their time with children. But then...
I'm pretty non-nurturing, I have to say.
Well, you're a bitch. We're not talking about you.
Yeah, that's true.
We're talking about most women. Carrie Fisher, you married Paul Simon for a year.
I know.
Couldn't even last that long. But then again, I don't know how many elementary school teachers molest children. It seems like it's more gym teachers and...
Who are barely teachers. I'm sorry, but...
That's so offensive to me.
I'm sorry. Were you considering going into gym teaching as your grad?
Gym teaching. It's not a real thing.
No.
I had some cool gym teachers though. They didn't molest me.
I guess that makes them cool.
That's a point for them.
Yeah.
If he molested everyone but me, I don't know.
You'd kind of feel bad.
I feel a little left out.
Yeah.
Catholic priest, another big one.
Oh, yeah.
If you are a Catholic, the priest wants to go on an outing with children, just don't do it. For fuck's sake.
No, don't let your kids do it.
Just don't do it. Like, come on. They should just not have Catholic outings with priests.
Yeah, I know.
Like, enough already. 9 times out of 10, it's bad news.
It ends badly.
It's just not end. I mean, I'm not saying all Catholic priests are child molesters, but Jesus, why take the chance?
I know. It seems enough are. We
Yeah.
have the court records to prove it.
I have a whole rant about the Catholic Church and child molestation.
Yeah.
God, the way they handled that was so bad.
I know.
I mean, like, even if the guy molested somebody, just make him like a monk. Be like, go live in a priory or something. Just stay away from children. But what they did was, like, sent him to other children around the country.
Right, so he could just reoffend him.
It was like, could you have thought up,
idea ever.
Could you have thought up a worse way to handle that? I don't think you could have.
No.
And I wrote down, if the Catholic Church put half the effort into weeding out child molesters as they put into opposing gay marriage, maybe people would have more respect for the institution.
Yeah, I think it would help.
I like this Pope. I don't know how you feel about him.
It's a little more moderate, at least.
I'm kind of a fan. He finally was like, enough with the gay marriage.
Right.
Just focus on charity and like
not raping children.
Focus on not raping children. The last Pope, Benedict, was like totally involved with just shuffling people around.
Yeah. He was creepy.
Oh yeah, you could tell. He essentially looked like Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah, there was something untrustworthy about him.
And the whole thing that they don't go to like, he should be in jail. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't care that he was a pope. Let's take away the whole religion for a second.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a person and you know somebody's molesting children and you don't stop it,
you're guilty.
Yeah, there's legal ramifications there.
Right.
So just because he is a holy man, well, not really.
Yeah.
Just because you're in an institution doesn't mean anything. I just don't get it. Same with that Jerry Sandusky thing.
Oh, yeah.
I shaved once and I kept my mustache, and everybody called it a Sandusky mustache. Despite Sandusky not having a mustache.
Do you have any pictures from that time period?
I have like one person took a picture. It was literally the beginning of the day I shaved, and toward the end of the day I took it off.
Yeah.
It was just children were running, and I didn't blame them. I looked at them and I said, I can understand this.
This was a bad fashion move. Yeah.
I feel older men pull off a mustache, but younger guys, absolutely not.
And were their moms giving you dirty looks?
Oh, yeah.
You're like, don't even think about it.
You're like, I see what's going on. Well, good job.
Thank you.
You passed the test.
That's good.
You'll be on for at least another 3 more episodes.
Okay. Depending on ratings.
Yeah, it's all ratings. Alright, everybody. This was Stoneship Radio, episode 1, season 1. I don't know if we're going by seasons, but this was Carrie Fisher.
Yep.
And should my name be? God damn. And Tim MacFlannigan. We'll see you guys next time.